A very good evening and welcome to this Wednesday's edition of Primetime News on TV1. For the News First team, I'm Mariam Ganamichaya. Before we head on to our stories in detail, here is a look at the headlines.
Social activist Piyat Nikeshala admitted to hospital after an assault. 18 train journeys suspended due to railway station master strike. Passengers travelling without tickets to be fined. Justice Minister opposes debate on Express Pearl disaster. Says it will influence ongoing court case. Party leaders agree to continue debate in a manner that does not influence legal proceedings. What happened to parliamentarian SP Disanayaka's ministerial position? Omani investor granted BOI facilities to recommence business. Indika Anuruddha denies allegations of assault, says his parliamentary privileges have been violated. IMF staff team to arrive in Colombo tomorrow.
On to your lead story this evening. Railway station masters across Sri Lanka have been on strike since midnight yesterday. Owing to the strike, train tickets were not issued this morning and commuters who used the railway service without obtaining a ticket were fined at the end. The strike is being carried out based on the issue of appointing an officer to the position of Deputy General Manager of Railways in charge of commercial activities.
Owing to the trade union action called by the station masters across the country, railway tickets were not issued today morning to commuters at many railway stations, including the Fort railway station. Commuters had no option but to travel in trains without obtaining a ticket. However, railway employees took steps to check for the tickets as usual, and fines were imposed on commuters who travelled without obtaining tickets.
Strikes are a main issue in this country. It is similar to a paralyzed patient. Even though they work in the same department, employees here don't know that there is an ongoing strike in Kurunegala. When we left from Kurunegala, they informed us that they are not issuing any tickets today, but we can use the train service. I have pictures to prove it. I paid 700 rupees for the ticket and these officers refused to issue me a ticket. They only gave me a piece of paper with the time number. We have no one to complain about this. These are the officers who came to check for tickets in the train on our way from Kurunegala. They collected 700 rupees each and did not issue us any ticket. When we asked for it, they had an argument with us.
They checked for tickets on our way and then collected 700 rupees each. Then they wrote down our NIC numbers on a piece of paper. Then I inquired from them about the ticket. They gave one piece of paper to 4 passengers. But then we stressed on the fact that we need a ticket for the money we paid. They refused to issue it.
I always use the 8:45 train to go home after my 24-hour shift. They asked us not to buy a ticket today. Who's collecting money now? I am also travelling to Ambalangoda now. I am afraid that I will also face the same fate faced by these people.
However, the General Manager of Railways, WADS Gunasinghe, told News First that when he was informed on the issue, steps were taken to stop the checking of tickets of the commuters who used the railway service today. 18 trains that were scheduled to run today were cancelled owing to the strike. Deputy General Manager of Railways, MJ Indipula, said office trains and long-distance trains were cancelled today owing to the trade union action called by the railway station masters. He said that all night mail trains except the night mail train from Anuradhapura to Colombo Fort were among the other trains that were cancelled today owing to the trade union action.
අපි පාන්දර ගෙවල වලින් එනවා රස්සාවට යන්න ලංකාවේ මිනිස් ශ්‍රමය තමයි මේ නාස්ති වෙන්නේ.
මේ කට්ටිය දැනුවත් කරන්නේ නැහැ මොනසෝ. අපි ඉතින් මේ රස්තියාදු වල ඉන්න.
මාතලේ ලයින් එකෙත් කෝච්චි නැහැ. කොළඹ ලයින් එකේ පමණයි කියලා තමයි කිව්වේ නා. I think අපි අසරණයි එකෙන්. පහමාට යන කෝච්චිය එව්ව එකක්වත් තිබ්බේ නැහැ.
අපි උදේ වැඩට යන්න ආවේ. ඉතින් කෝච්චිය තමයි වැඩට යන්නේ මාතලේට. අහන්න කෙනෙකුත් නැහැ. ඒගොල්ලෝ දන්නෙත් නැහැ.
මොරලියන්න කියලා කෝච්චි නැහැ කියලා දැන් තමයි දැනගත්තේ. මිනිස්සු අසරණ වෙනවනේ මෙහෙම කරපුවම.
The strike is being carried out based on the issue of appointing a corrupt officer to the position of Deputy General Manager of Railways in charge of commercial activities.
අපි බලාගෙන ඉන්නවා අග්‍රාමාත්‍ය.
We are waiting for the Prime Minister to provide us with a quick solution for this issue. We don't intend to cause any inconvenience to the commuters. We express our regret to the commuters who had to face any inconvenience owing to our strike. We won't be issuing any ticket today. However, we will call off this token strike at midnight today.
කේතවාජනයක් අපි ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්න එකෙන් ඉවත් වෙනවා.
Meanwhile, Director General of Trade Unions to the President, Saman Ratnapriya, commented on the trade union action carried out by railway station masters.
Since they did not issue any tickets to the public today, people were saying that they got a free Dansala today. But the consequences of that will come later. Imagine if you use the railway service today without obtaining a ticket which is worth around 75 to 100 rupees. In the end, the profit you earn today will go as a loss incurred by the railway service and eventually the treasury. When I looked into the cause of this strike, it was carried out against the appointment of a manager to handle commercial activities at the department. I have anyway informed the relevant authorities. I hope we will be able to end this strike today after discussing with the relevant parties.
මම හිතන්නේ අද දවසේ සාකච්ඡා කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා සාකච්ඡා කරලා මේක निराකරණය කරන්න උත්සාහ කරගනී කියලා.
Social activist Piyat Nikeshala has been assaulted earlier today. He was admitted to the National Hospital in Colombo after being injured in the assault.
The assault had taken place along Samagimawata in Koswatta Battaramulla when Piyat Nikeshala was returning home after work. Piyat Nikeshala claims he was attacked by former Deputy Mayor of Kaduwela, Chandika Aberatna, who ambushed him with two vehicles.
මම පියත් නිකේෂල කඩුවෙල නියෝජ්‍ය නගරාධිපති චන්දික අබේරත්න මට ගැහුවා 10 දිනක් විතර එකතුලා මට ගැහුවා.
When news first reached out to the former Deputy Mayor of Kaduwela, Chandika Aberatna in this regard, he said Piyat Nikeshala attempted to injure him while he was travelling from Malabe to Koswatta. He went on to say, although he did not identify who Piyat Nikeshala was at the time, Nikeshala had berated the former Deputy Mayor, claiming that he was a... Meanwhile, civil activist Maureen Noor, who was arrested yesterday, was released on bail today. Noor was arrested yesterday for engaging in a protest march from Dematogoda to Peta against the incidents that unfolded on the 9th of May last year. She was presented to the Magistrates Court of Colombo today and was charged with several offences, including being part of an unlawful assembly. Counsel appearing for her pointed out to court that she has not committed any offence, and the magistrate, after considering the facts presented to court, ordered the release of Noor under a personal bail of 100,000 rupees.
The Students' Union of the University of Peradeniya engaged in a protest today opposing suppression and impeding students' rights. The students who marched from the university premises to the Galaha junction held a demonstration thereafter. The students alleged that the administration had proposed to install CCTV at the University of Peradeniya at a time where there are many unresolved issues.
The administration has proposed to introduce a CCTV project to the university. There are many issues relating to academic welfare at the university at present. The Mahapola stipend students receive is only 5,000 rupees, but the food prices at the canteen in the university have increased greatly. The administration has not taken any step to address that. The first year Mahapola stipend has not been given at all. If they wish to install CCTV without resolving other issues, the Students' Union will intervene to ensure such plans are revoked.
The interim order preventing the arrest and recording of a statement from former Attorney General Dappula Dilivera over a comment related to the 2019 Easter attacks has been further extended until the 22nd of June. The interim order was extended today after the petition filed by the former Attorney General was taken up for consideration at the Court of Appeal before a bench comprising Justices Nishanka Bandula Karunaratne and M.A.R. Marikar. Additional Solicitor General Parinda Ranasinghe informed court that a period of 1 month is required to obtain statements from the respondents of the case. As the petitioner had not objected to the request, the court fixed the case for hearing on the 22nd of June 2023.
Meanwhile, the debate on the Express Pearl disaster, which commenced today, was limited to a specific set of facts after the Minister of Justice opposed the debate taking place. Minister of Justice Dr. Vijayadasa Rajapaksa, expressing his objection to the debate, said it is not ideal for a debate on Parliament to be conducted on a matter that is being heard in court.
A case has been filed at the Singapore High Court on behalf of the Republic of Sri Lanka on the 25th of April. The case number is HC/OC 249/2023. It has been filed to claim damages worth $6.4 billion. I wish to state that it is your responsibility if such a debate is to be held. I will not be included in the group of traitors who wish to debate this. I will not join this debate. I wish to bring to your attention Standing Order 91E. It states, provided that the Speaker may allow such reference if he is of the opinion that there is no real or substantial danger or prejudice to the outcome of the judicial proceedings before court. The debate has been allowed because there is no impediment regarding it. The Attorney General's Department has intervened in all these issues. If he can ask Prasanna Ranatunga to name the law firm in Singapore that he has filed the case, he doesn't know.
Ali
Sabri, Vijayadasa Rajapaksa and others held extensive decisions to decide on moving forward with this law firm in Singapore. An underhand transaction of 250 million has occurred and a person named Chamara Gunasekara has received the $250 million. Our own Justice Minister says the money has been deposited to delay the legal proceedings on this matter. Today, he wants to refrain from discussing it because he might influence the court case. When someone picks another man's pocket, the thief is also running with the people shouting, "That's the thief." You should announce whether we will hold the debate or not. Ajit Manam Peruma from your party is the one who revealed the $250 million story. I will give you evidence. He is the one overlooking the interest for the shipping company. He is the one bringing lawyers of the shipping company and questioning the Attorney General as to how cases can be filed. This is not our doing. I am the one who complained to the CID.
Parliament reconvened 1.5 hours later. Announcing the party leader's decision, the Speaker noted the debate can be carried forward in a manner that does not prejudice the legal proceedings, paying greater attention to the environmental aspect of the matter.
Minister, my first question is, how much have you demanded in compensation? And have you agreed to pay a sum of $4.5 million to the law firm in Singapore handling the case? I will not comment on the payment made to law firms. According to what I know, the claim is $6.4 billion.
$6.4 billion
When a damage evaluation was being done for $6.4 billion, the ship's owner had imposed a condition of a 500-meter boundary surrounding the vessel. Experts cannot enter that boundary. If they were allowed to enter that zone, we could have claimed more. Honourable Speaker, there is a conspiracy here. These facts are presented to benefit the case. Whose power did the ship owner wield when a 500-meter parameter was imposed? It is beneficial for our country to hear a case in a country that has signed an international convention to allow limits to be imposed on claims. The thieves of this shipping company need to be brought before the law and follow proper procedure.
මේ හොර නැව් සමාගමේ මේ හොර අයිතිකාරයෝ මේ පට්ට හොරු ටික අපි ගේන්න ඕන නීති හමුවට නිවැරදි ක්‍රියාමාර්ග කරන්නට ඕන. මම දැනුත් කතා කරා නාරා ආයතන හිටපු
I spoke to the former Director General of NARA, Dr. Palitha. Even now, I cannot recall such a parameter being imposed. When NARA said it requires samples, the Navy facilitated it and allowed them to sail close to the damaged vessel and collect samples.
කොන්සප් එව්වේ ඒ නෞකාව අසලටම ගිහිල්ලා අවශ්‍ය සාම්පල් ටික ගන්න.
අල්ලසක් ගැන සඳහන් වෙනවා. මහා
Talks of a bribe have come around. It's a massive bribe that has allowed the case to be swept under the rug or to be delayed. Just anyone cannot make such an influence. Only someone with power can influence it in such a way. In Singapore, the case is being heard by judges and not a jury. Will their opinion change because of what a parliamentarian in Sri Lanka says? What a bogus argument is that?
මේ නඩු තීන්දුව වෙනස් වෙන මොන විකාර කතාවද මේ?
මේ නැව් සමාගමත් සිංගප්පූරුවේ සමාගමක්.
The shipping company is also a Singaporean one. Arjuna Mahendran is said to be residing in Singapore. When considering the legal matters we have with Singapore in the past, we have no trust that this will be heard impartially.
පොළොව තියෙන ගැටලු දැක්කම අපිට නම් කිසිම විශ්වාසයක් නැහැ මේක ස්වාධීනව වෙනවා කියලා.
The case filed against social media activist Darshana Handongoda over a statement he made over a YouTube channel defaming an additional Solicitor General of the Attorney General's Department and a government advocate concerning the seeking of compensation for the Express Pearl maritime disaster were taken up in the District Court of Colombo today. The relevant complaint was taken up before Colombo District Judge Purnima Parnagama today, and the Colombo District Court then ordered the extension of an injunction order issued against Darshana Handongoda until the 24th of May. Appearing for the defendant, Darshana Handongoda, President's Counsel Maitri Gunaratna told the court that his client published the relevant report in question with the intention of providing information to the public. Later, the President's Counsel also requested to fix a date to present the facts regarding the matter. Accordingly, the District Court judge ordered the case to be taken up again on the 24th of May.
People have the right to know what's happening in the country. What they're trying to do here is shut the mouths of people by filing cases in court. You cannot silence anyone like that. They have no ground to file this case.
එහෙම කටවස්සන්න විදියක් නැහැ. කිසිම පදනමක් විරහිතව තමයි මේ නඩුව දාලා තියෙන්නේ. පසුගිය දවසක මම ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම්
I uploaded a program recently. I did not insult any person there. I did this program to make sure we received this $6.4 billion compensation. We only received $2.9 billion from the IMF. As citizens of this country, we have serious concern as to why they are hearing this case in Singapore. Can't we trust our judiciary? We as citizens still believe in our country's judiciary.
සිංගප්පූරුවට ලංකාවේ අධිකරණ අවිශ්වාසද? අපි ලංකාවේ අධිකරණය විශ්වාස කරනවා.
News first with the people.
The crude oil deal gave rise to a heated debate in Parliament even today. Minister Kanchana Wijesekara denied once more today the allegation made by MP Vijitha Herath yesterday that another company had supplied crude oil instead of the company that had been provided the tender with the approval of the cabinet. However, MP Vijitha Herath iterated later in the day that the crude oil deal continues to be doubtful.
මම අද සභාගත කරනවා අපි ගෙවීම් කරේ මොන සමාගමකටද කියන එක. ලංකා කනිත් තෙල් නිධිගත සංස්ථාව ඒ ටෙන්ඩර් එක දී
I will table in Parliament today which company has been paid. Money has been deposited by the Petroleum Corporation to only the company that was given the tender. Parliamentarian Vijitha Herath said the AG has sent instructions that a cabinet paper has been presented without approval of the Procurement Committee or the Attorney General. According to the letter, the AG has directed, since there is no change in the quality, type and price of the oil, and since it has been delivered to Sri Lanka, if the company has requested for the money to be deposited to another company, it can be done based on approval from the Cabinet and the Procurement Committee. If companies make such requests in the future, we will do so. There is nothing wrong there. I believe if he has a sliver of shame, he will apologize for the false statement that he made.
හරි ගණී කියලා මේ කරපු වැරදි ප්‍රකාශය පිළිබඳව පාර්ලිමේන්තුව ඇතුලේ ගෙනත් තිබිච්ච හින්දාම තමයි CPC එකට සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ.
The CPC had to seek the Attorney General's instructions because it was brought down. If not, there is no need to do so. It is clearly depicted in the AG's report. It says, Coral has made a request to purchase the oil from Pontus, the company which has an address linked to a jewelry store. It must have made that request, but the CPC makes the final decision. This report very elaborately says the oil sent from Pontus was unloaded. There is no point going around in circles on this. They should admit that although they requested it from Coral Energy, since it was unable to make that delivery, it requested for the purchase to be made from Pontus. Therefore, they bought it.
මේකෙන් බරු ටික ගන්න කියලා කිව්වා. අපි ගත්තා. මේක තියෙන්නේ නීතිපතිවරයා ඉතා පැහැදිලිව කියනවා ඒ Pontus Trading DMCC UAE had been unloaded on 26 March 2023 and the discharge had been completed on 28 March 2023. හරි පැහැදිලිව මේක ඔප්පු වෙනවා.
It is proved here. The minister himself has tabled it. I am glad. But he has not read this part. It notes the consignment was purchased from another company. Then the Attorney General has instructed to enter a tri-party agreement to salvage the situation. In February, Pontus has made a request from the CPC to supply oil. It has been rejected, claiming lack of information. In conclusion, the AG advises not to make such errors hereafter. A serious illegal matter has occurred here. This is what happened when importing coal as well. Coral Energy has been paid after obtaining oil from Pontus. He accepted that a cabinet paper was submitted and withdrawn. You cannot absolve yourself of this by vilifying the JVP. They alleged that Vasantha Samarasinghe, our trade union leader, extorts bribes. He said it while hiding behind parliamentary privileges. Say it in public. Come for a political show on TV. He should remember that his father is a founding member of the JVP. They are the pioneers of extorting bribes.
Tell us in advance.
The Omani factory owner in Katana, who was about to leave the country after being attacked, met State Minister of Investment Promotion Dilum Amunagama today. The State Minister has informed the Omani national that arrangements will be made for him to relocate the factory in an industrial zone under the supervision of the Board of Investment.
I'm really sorry for the local people, the people are innocent and they are below poverty level, I feel very sad. I mean, moving from that place, of course we have to move and, carry on our businesses. But leaving them behind also, feel sorry for them because they are innocent and they have nothing to do with all of this mess,
I want to thank you for agreeing to stay back. You wanted to pull out, but on our request you agreed to stay back. So that's a great deal for the country. So thank you very much. And we will assure you that this sort of thing will not happen again. We will take 100% responsibility. Just keep in touch, keep close contact with us, with the BOI. We will ensure that no harm will be done.
මේ කර්මාන්තය ආරම්භ කිරීමේදී ඉඩම ලබා දීමේ නැත්නම් ඉඩම සොයා ගැනීම.
Several local brokers and an official of the Board of Investment have arranged this land in Katana for him to start the factory. We have identified that these local outsiders have heavily interfered on the functions of the factory for nearly 8 years. Some allegations were even leveled at a politician. Yes, there is an allegation, but it's not only him. There is an official of the Board of Investment who has interfered in these affairs. Not only him, there are other outsiders as well, and they have continued this for more than 8 years. Now we have asked the CID to investigate this.
මේ අවුරුදු 8ක් තිස්සේ මේ කටයුතු වලට මැදිහත් වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒ මුල් කරගෙන අපරාධ පරීක්ෂණ දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවට අපි පරීක්ෂණ කටයුතු බාර දීලා තියෙනවා.
Meanwhile, State Minister Indika Anuruddha, rejecting all allegations levelled against him on this issue, raised a concern on his parliamentary privileges today.
I challenge the people who levelled these allegations in Parliament yesterday to raise the same allegations outside. Honourable Speaker, they have violated my parliamentary privileges. This can happen to any parliamentarian. Therefore, I request you to call this matter into the Parliamentary Privileges Committee and to summon this newspaper and the officials involved and investigate it.
The Paris Club, in a statement, says that 17 countries have come together to form an official creditor committee to discuss Sri Lanka's request for a debt treatment.
The first meeting of the committee was held on the 9th of May 2023 and was co-chaired by India, Japan and France. The committee includes Paris Club creditors and other official bilateral creditors. During the meeting, Sri Lankan authorities formally presented their request for debt treatment and reiterated their commitment to transparency and comparability of treatment towards their official bilateral creditors. The IMF and World Bank representatives presented the latest macroeconomic developments regarding Sri Lanka and their relationship with the country. The creditor committee welcomed the passage of the resolution for implementation of the IMF-supported program by the Sri Lankan Parliament on the 28th of April this year. The committee will now pursue its work to find an appropriate solution to Sri Lanka's external debt vulnerabilities, consistent with the parameters of the IMF program. Private creditors and other official bilateral creditors are being urged to provide debt treatment on terms that are at least as favourable as the ones agreed by the creditor committee, in line with the comparability of treatment principle. The committee also reiterates its invitation to other bilateral official creditors to formally join the creditor committee. The members of the creditor committee are representatives of countries with eligible claims on Sri Lanka. Paris Club members with no eligible claims, as well as China, Saudi Arabia and Iran, attended the meeting as observers. Representatives of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank Group were also present.
Sri Lanka's clothing export revenues could decline by $1 billion this year. This is according to a report quoting a top official of the Joint Apparel Association Forum of Sri Lanka. News First's Kenza Farooq filed this report.
Why will there be a decline and what are the important export destinations?
As per the latest statistics from the Export Development Board, total apparel exports in the first quarter of the year, that's Jan to March, have decreased by about 15% compared to the same quarter in 2022. In March alone, the decrease in apparel was around 11%. Our main destinations for apparel are the USA, the EU and the UK, who collectively account for about 85% of our apparel exports. Fears of recession, high interest rates and excess inventory, together with rising inflation, are some of the reasons for this decline in order volumes. These, together with tensions between Russia and Ukraine, resulting in supply chain disruptions and energy price shocks, have also resulted in the decline of orders. We expect that it would take 5 to 6 months before we could see a recovery of orders in global apparel demand. However, domestic factors also contribute to the predicament. The steep rise in electricity tariffs in February this year, despite continuous objections and warnings from the industry, have also hampered the competitiveness of Sri Lanka apparel, driving away much needed investment and business opportunities.
Will this lead to job losses and how will this affect the small and medium businesses?
There will certainly be a reduction on the amount of recruiting into the industry at this time. There may be some restructuring that will also happen, particularly in the SME sector, who is always are worst affected by these swings in demand.
The first quarter of 2023 saw a 13.8% year-over-year fall in apparel and textile exports to $1.3 billion, while March exports touched a 3-year low. According to research by the International Trade Administration, Sri Lanka's apparel export industry has experienced impressive growth over the past 40 years, becoming one of the country's most important economic sectors. In 2021, the industry reached a value of $5.42 billion, with exports increasing by 22.93% compared to the previous year. The apparel sector is currently the country's leading export industry, accounting for around 44% of total exports and providing employment for approximately 33% of the country's manufacturing workforce.
In the meantime, the UN World Food Programme has once again highlighted that 1/3 of Sri Lanka's population was acutely food insecure in 2022.
The United Nations World Food Programme, or the WFP, in its latest report said nearly 1/3 of Sri Lanka's population was acutely food insecure in 2022. According to the WFP's report, 6.3 million people in Sri Lanka were acutely food insecure in 2022 due to a severe shortage of food, fuel and other essentials. In 2022, Sri Lanka faced the worst economic crisis since its independence in 1948. A range of factors such as consecutive years of drought, depleted foreign reserves, political turbulence, high inflation and increased public debt had a devastating impact on the country's economy. The report added that this marked a dramatic reversal for a country in which food insecurity was at 10% in 2019.
Parliamentarian S.P. Disanayake joined the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna media briefing held today. Let's take a look at what he had to say.
We managed to get $2.9 billion from the IMF with great difficulty. It was approved in this manner at least because of the state's leader, Ranil Wickremesinghe. If it was Gotabaya Rajapaksa or Mahinda Rajapaksa or anyone else, it would not have been granted this early. You can see what the IMF's stance is. Certain facts included in Veera Vansa's book are true, especially the ones about the US ambassador. This is not the party's stance, it is my own. She wanted to drag this country to a situation where it could have been another Libya or Iraq. That was not because she hates us, but to attack China. President Ranil Wickremesinghe has understood that agenda and is now working with that in mind.
ඒ වැඩේ හරියටම තේරුම් අරගෙන ජනාධිපති රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිතුමා වැඩ කරගෙන යනවා.
දැන් ඔබතුමා දීර්ඝ කාලයක් മന്ത്രിවරයෙක් විදියට ඉන්නවා. ඉතින් තාම ඇමතිකමක් එහෙමත් මොකුත් ලැබුණ නැහැ නේද?
එන්න ඒක ඔයාට අයිති වැඩක් නෙවෙයි ඔයාට.
That does not concern you. That is not a question you should be asking. You mind your own business. I do not have an issue. I am spending time happily and peacefully. Do not ask me that. Who are you to ask me that?
ඔයා කවුද මගෙන් මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ අහන්න? නෑ ඕන්නේ. ඒ ප්‍රශ්නේ ඕන්නේ. ඕන්නේ බොහොම ස්තුතියි. නෑ ඕන්නේ. නෑ ඕන්නේ. අබෙනේ වහන්න. අබෙනේ වහන්න. බය වුනේ නෑ. අප්පිරියා වුණා. අප්‍රසන්නයක් ඇති වුණා. ඒක ඔයාගේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෙවෙයි ඒක මගේ ප්‍රශ්නය. ඔයාට වැඩක්.
මන්ත්‍රීතුමා දැන් මම අහන්න හැදුවේ මේ ආණ්ඩුකාරවරු ඉවත් කිරීම හෝ පත් කිරීම ගැන කතා බහට
ජනාධිපතිතුමෙන් අහන්න. ඒක ජනාධිපතිතුමෙන් අහන්න.
Former Minister Mervyn Silva convened a media briefing today.
IMF report එක මට හම්බුණා.
I received the IMF report. This IMF report has certified that this economic program is unsuccessful. It's not me. The report says so. With this 3% economic growth, this country will not move forward even by 2028. There is no point of lying. What will these experts do about this? What is their advice?
ඉතින් මොනවද මේ ඉන්න උගත්තුයි කියන මිනිස්සු කතා කරන්නේ? මොනවද දෙන උපදෙස්? කපුට බලන් ඉන්නේ කොහෙන් මස් කැල්ලක් කාලා ඉල්ල යන්නද? ඒ දර්ශනේ හරියන්නේත් නැහැ. උගුඩු වගේ දර්ශනේ හරියන්නේත් නැහැ. ඒ ශබ්දේ හරියන්නේත් නැහැ.
Or a death penalty for people who loot public funds. Amend laws in a way that will issue death penalty on the politicians who deceive the people. Without that, we cannot develop this country. If you can't give it to me, I'll show you how it is done. I have the strength within me to do it.
මං කළා පෙන්නන්න. ඒ ශක්තිය තියෙනවා මට. ඒ ලේ මගේ ඇඟේ දුවනවා.
The Sri Lanka television presenters unity along with the United Nations Development Programme of Sri Lanka today celebrated the 30th World Press Freedom Day.
The 30th Press Freedom Day was celebrated with a special event under the theme of facing contemporary challenges to responsible journalism to commemorate World Press Freedom Day 2023. It was held in Colombo earlier today. Former President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, President's Council Salia Peris, addressing the event stressed on the importance of creating a culture and foundation of protecting human dignity in the media.
Joseph Pereira versus Attorney General Nadue.
The Supreme Court has provided the following determination in Joseph Pereira versus Attorney General. It notes freedom of speech and expression form the base of other rights. If we do not have that freedom, if we cannot express dissent, some of our other rights cannot be protected. The freedom to think comes from media freedom and the freedom of expression. If that freedom is curtailed, one cannot think freely.
නිදහස තියෙන්න ඕනේ. අදහස් ප්‍රකාශ කිරීමේ නිදහස තියෙන්න ඕනේ. මොකද ඒ නිදහස නැත්නම් නිදහස්ව හිතන්න හැකියාවක් නැහැ.
Azusa Kubota, the resident representative of UNDP in Sri Lanka, spoke on the importance of media's role in the society.
While the needs to protect the vulnerable grow by the day, countries are left with limited tools and resources to respond. In times like this, press freedom and responsible journalists are essential in promoting sustainable development and human rights for the achievement of SDGs. The media has the tools to keep the public engaged, informed, and be part of the recovery process from the poly-crisis. The media has at times become the object of criticism and faced with many challenges. Also, women journalists face a unique set of challenges and vulnerabilities in their work, and we must work together to create an environment that is safe and supportive for all media professionals.
The event was marked with a panel discussion on the challenges faced by the media in today's world, with esteemed journalists and representatives of the media community sharing their insights.
The depression in the southeast Bay of Bengal has developed into a cyclone. The Met Department has informed the fishing and marine community not to venture into sea until further notice. News First's Sandro Satyajit Pereira brings you the latest from the Weather Centre.
Welcome to Weather First. There's a storm brewing in Asia. How does this affect Sri Lanka? Now, the western, central and northwestern provinces alongside the Gaul, Matara, Kandy and Norelia districts will experience over 75 millimeters with heavy rains, heavy showers during this time. Now, at the same time, showers or thunder showers across many areas of the country will also be expected at times. Wind speeds can also turn up to 40 to 45 kilometers per hour in the western and southern coastal areas, along with the central hill areas as well. Now, the depression that was formed in the southeastern Bay of Bengal has been turned into a cyclone and is moving forward to the central part of the Bay of Bengal. Now, we will see this this depression that turned into a cyclone, turning into a cyclonic storm as it moves towards the Bangladesh and Myanmar areas of the Bay of Bengal as well. Now, the Met Department has issued advisories to those going out to sea as well.
Naval and fishing communities are advised not to venture into sea areas. Those who are in sea areas are advised to return to coasts or move to safer areas immediately. Naval and fishing communities are requested to be vigilant while engaging in fishing and naval activities in the sea areas off the coast extending from Galle to Potuville via Matara and Hambantota. Fishing and naval communities are requested to be attentive to future forecasts issued by the Department of Meteorology in this regard.
The LOLC Divi Savia program, launched to lend a helping hand to the students of Sri Lanka, continued today. Today's program was held centering the Kilinochchi district.
Today is day 26 of the LOLC Divi Savia program. The LOLC Divi Savia program was launched to lend a helping hand to students who are the future of Sri Lanka. Today's program was held centering the Kilinochchi district. Books and other stationery items were distributed among students in the Kilinochchi North and Kilinochchi South education zones. Books and other stationery items were distributed to the students of the Muhammalei RSTMS Vidyalaya, Muhavil GTM Vidyalaya, Murasumottai GTM Vidyalaya, Mattuvil Nadu GTMS Vidyalaya, Swimipulam GTMS Vidyalaya and the Surnapattu CCT Vidyalaya. This worthy initiative is a collaboration between the LOLC group and the Ministry of Education. The LOLC Divi Savia program will press on in their endeavour to support the education of these children.
In some developing international news, former Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan has been remanded for 8 days. Police in Pakistan have arrested hundreds of supporters of ousted Prime Minister Imran Khan for violence after his arrest on corruption charges.
Pakistan's former Prime Minister Imran Khan has appeared before a judge a day after his arrest on corruption charges sparked nationwide protests. Police said nearly 1,000 people have been arrested since Khan was held in Islamabad on charges which he denies. The arrest of Khan came at a precarious time for the country that is facing a shortage of foreign exchange and a months-long delay of an IMF bailout. Meanwhile, mobile data services were shut for a second day, while Twitter, YouTube and Facebook were disrupted as security forces tried to restore order after violence killed one person late yesterday. Foreign media also reported that the United States, United Kingdom and Canada have now issued new travel advisories for their citizens, citing political unrest following the arrest of former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan.
Yesterday, when news broke about former Prime Minister and leader of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, Imran Khan, I immediately dropped my plans to meet a friend in the Clifton area, as it's a stronghold of PTI. Because I also knew PTI supporters and workers would come out on the streets, and the police force and paramilitary forces would also rush in. And then they would all battle it out, and it's going to be quite bad, which it was yesterday. A few months ago, rumors of Imran Khan's arrest had created such a situation. Yesterday, family and friends left early from work, and we all kept tabs on friends and colleagues in other cities. Simultaneously, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube were suspended and continue to be suspended as of today morning. Late-night TV channels began running news stickers that the Private Schools Association Federation have announced that schools will be closed on Wednesday, that is today. Today, offices have allowed work from home policy, so many of my friends and relatives and family are taking the option. We're all tensed and nervous at how the situation in Pakistan is going to play out. We're already burdened by high inflation, and Imran Khan's arrest has led to further despair.
A barrage of rockets has been fired from the Gaza Strip towards southern Israel after the Israeli forces renewed air raids on the besieged territory. Officials say at least 2 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza.
Palestinian militants in the Gaza Strip have fired more than 60 rockets towards Israel after the Israeli military said it carried out a series of airstrikes on Islamic Jihad rocket launchers. It comes a day after 15 people in Gaza were killed in Israeli airstrikes, including 3 Islamic Jihad leaders. Islamic Jihad swore revenge, but there was no rocket fire overnight. Instead, the group warned Israel to expect its reaction anywhere at any moment. Israel's Prime Minister said any escalation from militants would be met with a quote-unquote crushing response.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News for today, but do stay tuned to News First as Face the Nation is coming up next. For the News First team, I'm Mariam Ganavijaya. Good night and take care.